there is no minimum. I've dated teachers, I've dated partners at Deloitte & Touche, I've dated all across the board. It really more so matters about their character. Are they honest? Will they cheat? Do they have passion for what they do? Because a man who does not have purpose and passion in his life is not necessarily a happy man to be around. So I would say, somebody where we're not struggling, where we're not having to scrounge together everything that we have just to go on one vacation a year, it would be nice. But I want them to be passionate about what they do and to love what they do. And
so you said you've dated teachers, and that's sort of on the lower end of the financial spectrum, and then you've dated partners at Deloitte, which is one of the big four accounting firms out there.
Yep.
So I assume their income was completely divergent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
what was the different?
Depends on what you value. I mean, do I value going out to a steak dinner every once in a while? Of course. But would I rather have my man home with me, being able to potentially raise a family, having them be present, versus the partner at Deloitte & Touche is not going to be able to provide you with that lifestyle, to be up my ass all the time. They're going to be busy. They're building a business. They're not going to.
A lot of stuff going on here.
A lot of ass play going on.
Yeah.
That's just my personal preference for me.
So what would you prefer?
I would prefer the teacher.
You would prefer the teacher who makes less amount of money.
Correct.
But he's more up your ass, I guess, versus the partner at Deloitte who's nowhere near your ass.
That's correct. That's
Why?
correct. Because
I feel like that your life would be a lot better with a guy like a good-looking CPA who's 37 years old who met his wife in Hawaii, who just actually met the brother, and they had a great time. I feel like that's what everyone would want.
Well,
no?
It depends on what you define as a good life.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that brings you happiness? I know your stance on it, and I appreciate and I
What's my
respect
stance?
that you do value money. You value money for freedom, and you like nice things, and you like to take nice vacations. Personally, that doesn't necessarily bring me happiness. I've had both. I've had the money. I've had the guy who did all the things. And if somebody isn't necessarily emotionally present with you, if they're on a vacation and they're on their phone all the time, that makes a woman feel potentially very insecure. It makes her feel like she's alone in the relationship. So I think there's a balance between money and being a present partner in a relationship.
Gotcha. So there's no minimum. You would date a broke-ass dude if he's home all day, every day with you.
Probably not. They'd need to have some sort of ambition. I think, again, this is about characteristics. This is about...
Got it. So the financial component, not a major factor for you.
No, I've been poor. I could eat macaroni and cheese all day.
Well, she's one of the best macaroni and cheese makers out there.
Do you like hot sauce on it?
Heck yeah, baby. The hotter, the better.
What's that meme or like that saying where it's like, I want hot sauce on my chicken? You guys, have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that one. Catalina,
Somebody find the soundtrack, please.
how important is your man's income?
I would have to agree with Sarah on this, that I'd rather have a guy who is chasing a dream instead of, even if that means not chasing money, right? I think that a man should have their own purpose and their own journey and sense of who they are and have that happiness, and that's actually better for a relationship than just some monetary value or how much they're making. I do understand that men like to be providers. I also understand that there are a lot of guys out there who get intimidated if women make more money than they do and all of that. I think that there's a fine line. I think about there are a lot of entrepreneurs, and if we have to cut back on spending because you're building your business and you're building your dream or you're pivoting a career, whatever it might be, I think that matters more. That person who's finding their sense of self and purpose in their dream than just some, dollar value. For that woman to put some monetary value on what their husband should make, it's like, okay, go get your own job. Like, go provide for yourself. Be a better spouse and build something together. And I think there's also so much pressure on millennial men too. You know, you think back on your parents or a lot of older generations, they built something together.
Yes.
You know, they didn't come out with 6-figure jobs after college and then had to buy a house. Like, they struggled together. And I think that there is so much pressure now in our generation to have it all figured out. Instead of actually, those times in life are probably when you actually learn the most about your partner and develop that foundation and that loyalty and that love along the way. You know, if my guy had a midlife crisis, wanted to be a janitor, it's like, baby, you go be the best damn janitor ever and make, 10 grand a year. I don't care.
Okay, that's where I gotta stop this whole nonsense.
I was gonna say, I think
Private
it's
school is
What is
expensive.
going on right now,
I
guys?
disagree. I don't
Nobody's
think
dating
so.
a
My
janitor.
point is, hey,
Yes.
there are a lot of great janitors out there. My point is, they should find their passion and their purpose, and it shouldn't be about this materialistic world of trying to keep up with some lifestyle. Because think about the amount of depression and how hard it is for guys to try to keep up with the Joneses or try to appease their wives, who, I'm sorry, a lot of women have become materialistic, and that is unfortunate. You know, they're not being good. Women aren't sometimes, I think, being good partners, and vice versa, right?
Okay.
And there's plenty of guys who like their Rolexes too and get materialistic.
Good.
But I
They
think it's a
should.
false dichotomy that it has to be either you're taking a vow of poverty or you're spending time with your spouse.
Yes.
Right.
Especially the best way to do it in my mind is owning your own business, because you just have the ability to actually create your life with intention. But I think that also, when it's not just you and you have a family, having some money certainly helps a lot of things.
Yes.
With this craziness in these last couple of years and COVID and everything that was going on, we were planning on putting our kids in public school forever. They're in private school now, and we couldn't do that without having some sort of income.
Yep.
So I think that while you're on your own and live in an apartment or whatever, it's easier to not care as much about the income. And I agree, it's still important to have a passion, but I think that having a passion and then also having some ambition to go provide for your family is important too.
Absolutely. And
I
that
hit it.
security is so important. And again, we want people who are financially stable and are building something. I just think that to put like a dollar sign on or a value is like sick to me. Like, what your husband has to make, $1.5 million in order for you to like consider them. I mean, I think that's it's just not the way I would operate. But no, I totally understand. You need security and you want somebody who's financially stable and ambitious.
And to build like you said it, building something together. And that takes on many different phases as you have family. Sometimes you choose, I stayed at home for a long time, raising children. And then I was like, okay, it's now time. I'm at a point where I can go back into the workforce. So, you support each other, and that looks very different at different times based on where you're at. And totally agree. Purpose, determination, consistency. We talked about all this. If you have all that, you will get to that point where you're able to, afford things that you want for your children and for your family and experiences and taking the vacations and making sure your kids have all of that, because you want that for your children. You end up wanting that for your children. But, I think those are, you don't have to choosing one or the other. I agree. I don't think that that's the way to look at it or the perspective. It's where that comes together.
Look, we're going to get into some of the most expensive cities going on in the country. Life is getting more expensive these days, guys.
Yeah.
So, with
Thanks,
all due
Joe
respect, I
Biden.
don't see the lovely Catalina Loft dating a janitor making 10 grand a year. With all due respect.
Hey,
And-
if it was love, you never know.
So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another, or if you want to watch the entire SOSCAST, click right here.